Thanks for staying with us. Tonight, the Ghana Journalists Association is demanding the immediate dismissal of the Ghana National Fire Service Public Relations Officer Desmond Aka, citing unprofessional conduct in response to the alleged assault on a class media group journalist. The GJ President Albert Kwabena also wants the fire service to sack the perpetrators of the assault. The incident occurred while the journalist Samuel Addo was covering a fire outbreak at Kaswa New Market. He accused the fire service officers of physically manhandling him and seizing his phone. Today, GJ President Albert Kwabena described the incident as disturbing and called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of perpetrators. Fatal Bayaga has more in the following report.
President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Albert Jumfor, has expressed grave concern over the attack of Class FM's journalist Samuel Addo yesterday at Kaswa following a fire incident by some officers of the Ghana National Fire Service. He condemned this particular act in no uncertain terms and called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of the officers.
The Ghana Journalists Association condemns in the strongest possible terms the brutal, unlawful and reprehensible attack on Class FM journalist, Mr. Samuel Addo. We also saw the viral video where the journalist and some civilians were being attacked callously with helmets. This attack is not only an assault on an individual journalist, but a direct attack on media freedom and, for that matter, direct attack on the leadership of the GJA.
The GJ president is also calling on the chief fire officer, Daniela Mawusi Sapon, to publicly condemn this act and ensure that the officers are identified and face sanctions.
The GJ demands that the leadership of the Ghana National Fire Service, led by the chief fire officer, Daniela Mawusi Sapon, publicly condemns this assault, identifies the officers involved, and applies severe internal sanctions, including dismissal where appropriate.
Albert Jumfor is also calling for the immediate dismissal of the public relations officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, saying he does not fit for the job.
We also call for the immediate dismissal or removal of the PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service from the position, because our interaction with him on the case shows that he is unfit to be in charge of communication for that unit.
Ahead of the MPP's presidential primary slated for 31st January 2026, he called on the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to warn its supporters to refrain from attacking journalists during the election.
The GJ issues a firm warning to the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to clearly caution and restrain its supporters ahead of the upcoming flag bearership contest. Political competition must never be used as an excuse to harass, intimidate, or attack journalists.
According to the Ghana Journalists Association, journalists are very crucial in every democratic dispensation, and for that reason, they should not be attacked in their line of duty. For Joy News, Fatal Bayaga, Accra.
Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama says the fight against illegal mining is beginning to yield positive results, with some water bodies starting to clear up. He said that the fight has not been easy. Speaking at the 77th Annual New Year School at the University of Ghana, he commended the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, the anti-illegal mining team NIWAS, and other stakeholders for their efforts. He urged them not to give up but to continue the fight strongly. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Weber has more in the following report.
Present at the 77th Annual New Year School End Conference were the chairman of the University of Ghana Council, Marietta Brew, Education Minister Rene Idrisu, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Johnson Isiama, and other top dignitaries. Keynote speaker, governance expert and business management consultant Ishmael Yamson addressed the subject of illegal mining, stating that no economy can survive when its environment is sacrificed for the greed of a select few.
As our pristine river bodies, the Pra, the Ankobra, the Birim, the Orphan, and many others, are turned into toxic mud by illegal mining. With this destruction, we see this destruction happening in broad daylight, often with the complicity of those who want to protect us. When a nation poisons its own water to feed the greed of a few, it is not just an environmental crisis, it is a spiritual collapse.
President Mahama in his speech said the fight against illegal mining is yielding results, with some water bodies showing signs of recovery.
I want to commend the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources in the fight against galamsey. It has so entered the fabric of our people that it's not been an easy fight. Communities have mobilized to attack, the task force when they have gone to enforce the ban on illegal mining. And so I'll encourage the task force, the minister, the Environmental Protection Agency, all of those involved in the fight against illegal mining, please don't give up. There are some positive results beginning to show. Before we crossed the bridge, I asked them, which river is this? They said it was the Ayinsu River. And he said, if you had come here 6 months ago, this water was the color of coffee. It says now is the color of light Milo. And so, it's getting better.
He revealed that materials for the construction of a 10,000-bed capacity hostel for the University of Ghana have been shipped and will be in Ghana soon.
It is preferable that we have as many of our students living on campus or as close to campus as possible. And that's why I was telling the Vice Chancellor a little good news. When I went to Singapore, we signed an agreement for a 10,000 student hostel in the University of Ghana. And this is going to be a prefabricated building. It means that the building will be manufactured somewhere and will come and be assembled on campus. And so the machines for the factory that would manufacture the building and come to assemble it on campus has been shipped from Singapore and is on its way to Accra.
President Mahama also noted that the recent traffic congestion on the Accra-Kumasi Highway caused by church activities points to the urgent need for the new expressway.
And one of the iconic projects under our big push is going to be the Accra-Kumasi Expressway. And for those who have spoken against this expressway, I wish that they were in the traffic jam over the new year, when one single church holding a convention brought the Accra-Kumasi Road into gridlock for more than 7 hours. Accra is the biggest city in Ghana and the capital. Kumasi is the next biggest city in Ghana. And the traffic between these two cities, it's a shame that we have a single lane road linking our two major cities. This will be a thing of the past, and I'm looking forward to cutting sword. I'm looking forward to cutting sword early this year for the commencement of construction of the Accra-Kumasi Expressway.
Well, let's explore this further. Senior Hosi joins us live here on JoyNews Prime. Although we've not conducted any independent search to see if indeed the president's claims are true, what's your current assessment of this administration's fight against illegal money? So you have to unmute for me to hear you clearly.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear now. I want to find out your assessment of this administration's fight against illegal money.
We must all admit that there's been some renewed energy in this entire fight relative to what we had seen in time past. But I think that there's a lot of room for improvement, and there's a lot more structures to be put in place as far as accountability is concerned. I appreciate the work of NIMOS, and we are all in the forefront of that conversation, hoping that there could be a lot more support given to NIMOS. I was on Newsfile a few days ago. We had the work that the Gold Board has been able to do so far, and I think that a great job. They made an income, but in support, we should go to see some of those profits flow into this fight against galamsey. There's a certain ruthlessness that we're hoping to see as a coalition. We are yet to see it, I must admit. But there's been some efforts and some work to it. Efforts are great, but efforts don't transform. It's the effect that we seek that will transform the entire space for our economic and environmental sustainability as our people. And like I always say, not just for ourselves, but for our children and our children's children. So we are quite hopeful that the president will rally on a new year with the stability and understanding he's been able to achieve in this past year of the situation. More importantly, bring galamsey to an end within his time.
Thank you so much for your time here on JoyNews Prime. See you see there. Away from that, tonight commuters are ramping up pressure on private commercial transport operators to reduce transport fares following continuous reduction of fuel prices at the pumps. Petrol is now selling for 10 cedi 99 pesos per litre at Goil filling stations across the country. They are the second leading market producers. But commuters are feeling the pinch. They are asking transport operators to slash transport fares to ease economic pressure on households. There's more in the following report.
From the 1st of January this year, some oil marketing companies started to reduce fuel prices at the various pumps. So now when you go to a Goil filling station or a Star Oil filling station, you realize that fuel prices are lower than before. Now some passengers here on the back of this are calling on drivers to reduce the fares so that they can also benefit from the fuel reduction.
My daughter is going to school in Nkoko. When she gets to Nkoko too, she will continue from there. But the fare is expensive. It's now 60 cedis. They charge for the luggage as well. They should reduce the fares. We are suffering.
Yes. President Mahama has done all he can to reduce prices of goods and services, but the drivers don't want to reduce the fares, and this is affecting us negatively.
For currently, due to the road from Circle to Nkoko to Kumasi, but the road is not all that good. So the drivers are taking the advantage that the fares will be increased. But to my perception, when the road sectors, when the road to Kumasi are very calm or are very good, I think that the fares will be down for more passengers to join that across Kumasi.
But the drivers are also complaining about some other factors, including the prices of spare parts that affect the cost of transportation.
Fuel prices have dropped, but the prices of spare parts are still high. So when spare parts reduce, we will also consider reducing our fares.
Just like drivers who are enjoying reduced fuel prices, Passengers also want to benefit from same. Reporting from the Neoplant station here in Accra, my name is Gemma Apia.
But the Ghana Private Road Transport Union is rejecting these calls, describing them as unrealistic. According to the union, spare parts prices continue to be on the high, as well as other factors which affect the prices of fuel. Samuel Amwa is Deputy PRO of GPRT.
We have been seeing some reductions on petroleum products. And it's clear. And someone will ask why, drivers are not reducing their transport fares. For the past year, and that was the beginning of 2025, drivers started complaining about, by then the fuel prices were high. During around June, April, thereabout, we were asked to reduce our transport fares by 15%. This reduction came by the reduction of petroleum products. We were looking forward for the other component, that like the spare parts, the lubricant, and the taxes to also come down. But it couldn't do that. We complained, and the promise we gave the public was that in as much as spare parts are high and fuel is not the only component we use, we are trying as hard as we can to to hold on with our current transport fares, so that we can actually end the year without
Well, another transport union, the Concerned Drivers Association, they've also rejected calls to reduce prices. David Abwado speaks for the group.
The Association of Ghana are not planning any decrease of transport fare now.
Why?
Because we have 5 components that we use in determining the price increment or decrement. As I'm speaking with you, it is only fuel that is gaining downward trend, and then that of the inflation is gaining downward trend. But the rest 3 are upgoing. The lubricant, the price is not coming up, but the price remains at where it is. But as I'm talking with you, the spare parts are skyrocketing. I heard you were saying spare parts dealers say they have reduced price of spare parts. It is not true that they have reduced the price of spare parts. At the last time, if I recall, when we meet with them at the minister's office, the trade minister's office, they told us it is only SUV and then that of Land Cruisers that they have reduced their prices. But we commercial drivers are talking that the prices on our spare parts are very high and even now skyrocketing. When you go to Abusokan right now and you want to buy an engine for Sprinter bus, it now ranges between the old currency, 600 million, that's 60,000 Ghana cedis, to 45,000 cedis. When you ask of Toyota Fish engine is raising from 600 million to 650 million. That's 65,000 Ghana cedis and 60,000 Ghana cedis. When you ask of Toyota Fish, the engine is skyrocketing. When you ask of Kia, Trust, and other things, all the cars that we use as commercial cars, their spare parts are now exorbitant.
Well, let's get some understanding of how steep really the decline in fuel prices have been. Joining me in the studio is Caleb Zibilim of our research desk. Paint a picture for me really. What do we see on the ground?
So if you can look at the graph,
okay,
you can see a nosedive. So from 2024 or early 2025, that's January 2025, petrol was selling for 15 cedis, 85 pesos. And then diesel was 15 cedis, 99 pesos. That was in January 2025. This year, we started the year at 10 cedis, 99 pesos for petrol. So if you do the math, that's about a more than 30% drop in the price of fuel in just 1 year. And if you zoom out a bit, the graph goes as far back as 2024. And you can see that this is the lowest since 2024. Yeah. But then if you zoom out more, you see that this is the lowest level we've been since 2022. And
4 years.
4 years. And for petrol, it's May 2022. And for diesel, I think that's somewhere in September 2022. So the current fuel price, the current price of fuel is the lowest it's been since 2022. And if you look at the trend, this is from GWEL only. Look at the trend, you can see that the price of fuel, that's petrol and diesel, has been falling for the past year. And then you might ask why it's falling. It's two main factors: the exchange rate, how the city is performing against the dollar, and also the price of crude oil on the world markets. And crude oil has been performing very weak in the world markets, about $60 a barrel. And that's down from highs of about $84 and $90 per barrel in 2024. So this means that we're enjoying in Ghana. And if you look at the difference between the two main players, GWEL and Star, because GWEL was one of the market players in 2022, they had about 20% of the market share. Now they have 9%, and then Star Oil now have 10%. So Star Oil is the market leader at the moment. You can see that there was a steep gap between the price at GWEL and Star Oil. Petrol at GWEL was 11 cedis, 99 pesos. At Star was 10 cedis, 86 pesos. But then currently, the gap has dwindled significantly. At GWEL, petrol is selling for 10 cedis, 99 pesos, and at Star is 10 cedis, 56 pesos. So just a matter of pesos. But before, it was almost more than 1 cedi difference between the two players. The same with diesel. So the price of petrol and diesel have been falling, and the graph can show you that for the past 12 months, it's been falling very steeply. And then if you look at the external environment, the external markets, you can tell that this could be sustained, barring any geopolitical shocks.
Thank you so much for your time here on JoyNews Prime, Caleb. Away from that, as the festive season dust settles across transport chaos, is back with commuters now facing a harsh reality. Long queues, exorbitant fares, and missed appointments. Passengers are waiting hours at major terminals like Circle, Medina Zongo Junction, only to be hit with arbitrary fare hikes by drivers cashing in on the demand. Students and workers are struggling to reach their destination on time, raising concerns about transport reliability. Michelle Latte and Mavis has more in the following report.
Accra's transport system is feeling the heat. The post-festive season rush has led to a severe shortage of commercial vehicles, leaving many passengers stranded and frustrated. Long queues at bus terminals, exorbitant fares and endless waiting times are now the new normal. Transport operators blame the reopening of schools for the pressure on the system. GPRTU Secretary for the Kanishi to Cape Coast Station, Francis Ama, acknowledges the challenge.
Bro, I'm not for deep. I'm not for deep, bro. And I'm almost alcohol. And the school for a school.
The festive season brought in a lot of people in the capital, and many of them are traveling back. Unfortunately, school reopened at the same time, so the situation we are seeing today is due to the clash between school reopening and post-festive travel. When a bus comes, we allow the students to board. Some of our buses are undergoing maintenance and can't hit the road.
And at the same thing, and a bus and so no bin makwaba, but bin maintenance. Until we can by we are a release.
The situation is taking a toll on daily life, with students, workers, and traders bearing the brunt. Some have resorted to walking long distances or waiting for hours at bus terminals.
2 o'clock. 2 o'clock,
I came here at 2 o'clock yesterday, but we stayed for hours without getting a bus. The problem is, conductors don't follow the queue when selling tickets. They sell to anyone without considering those of us who have been waiting. I stood here from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. I got tired and I left. I'm back again today, and still I can't get a bus.
The same thing. Since yesterday, people have not gotten buses. Some people came yesterday to try and go get a bus to school, but there was no bus, so they had to go back home. And those same people have come today, and today too there's no bus. According to the station master, the buses which are currently present are spoiled, so we have to wait for the buses which have gone to Takoradi to come back. And our school has a rule that by 6 or 7, the gates are locked, so we'll be stuck. So when we go, like our whole issue is that if we go too late, we can't enter school, and that's our problem. So we are hoping that maybe the next time they do provide buses specifically for school students, so that when we come, we can go to school easily, get a bus and go easily.
We came here around 5 o'clock to 5:30, and then we've been standing here till it's about 9 o'clock, and we've still been standing here. We've been waiting for the bus, but no bus has been here, so we are still waiting to see if they'll come or not.
Yeah, we first went to where the small cars are, and we saw a long queue, so we decided to come here thinking this place will have big buses. That's very unfortunate. But I came here and we've seen this long queue here too, so we decided to stay here.
Commuters are calling on the Transport Ministry to intervene and provide relief. For Joy News, Michelle Latte and Mavis Kabuko.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime. When we return, we'll tell you what happened today when the Asantehene paid a visit to the IGP. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on JoyNews Prime. Today, royalty met policing at the National Police Headquarters in Accra, where His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei II paid a royal visit to the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete-Yohonu. The act marks a historic event where an Asantehene has travelled to meet an IGP at the police headquarters. The visit featured a parade, official statements, and a closed-door meeting between the two where high-level security matters were discussed. My colleague James Aveji reports.
The Ghana Police Service witnessed history on Tuesday with a royal visit of Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II to the Inspector General of Police Christian Tete-Yohonu at the National Police Headquarters in Accra. The event marked an iconic meeting between royalty and policing, where the two deliberated on matters of security, law and order, among others. The IGP, in his remark, acknowledged the continuous support the police have enjoyed from the Asantehene, as he commends the Otumfuo for his role in maintaining peace even beyond the Ashanti region.
Your wisdom, patience, and moral authority have brought calm where tension once prevailed, and unity where division once threatened our peace. Specifically, you chair the Committee of Eminent Chiefs that successfully resolved the long-standing Dagbon chieftaincy crisis, restoring peace and stability to the area. Your mediation efforts in Yendi, and more recently in the protracted Boku conflict, to mention a few, have yielded practical recommendations that continue to guide security operations. These actions reaffirm the constitutional recognition of chieftaincy under the 1992 Constitution, which recognizes traditional authority as an integral part of Ghana's governance system.
When the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II took the stage after inspecting a guard of honor arranged in his honor, he first commended the officers for their continuous protection of Ghanaians, even in unfavorable conditions.
Watching the ladies parade, I thought I should have worn my police dress to be here. I plead of the IGP to give me a police dress so next time when I come, I can be a policeman. If we take pride in our climate of peace and accept the plaudits of the world for the safety in our streets, we cannot fail to acknowledge the crucial role of the frontline protectors of our peace and security. When we snuggle in our comfortable beds at night, we cannot forget that there are thousands of our sons and daughters battling with mosquitoes while dutifully protecting us from the snares of criminal minds. And while we trudge along our motorways, whether in our shining limousines or the humble trotro or aboboya and praja, we cannot forget that there are again thousands of our sons and daughters keeping guard in the most inhospitable spots just to make sure we arrive safely at our destinations.
He emphasized the need for deeper collaboration between security agencies and traditional institutions, while charging the IGP to work to redeem the integrity of the police and public trust.
The lessons of history suggest that we can build a safer, more peaceful society by conscious effort to bring the guardians of culture and the protectors of law ever closer together to create an interlocking mechanism based on the cardinal principle that culture cannot do without the police, and the police cannot succeed without culture. Culture without law becomes nostalgia. Beautiful stories with no teeth. Law without culture becomes false, effective but brittle. One shapes the heart, the other restrains the hand. A society that restrains only the hand while neglecting the heart merely postpones disorder. This is why we have been pleased to join hands with Dr. Tayuno, the Inspector General of Police, to initiate this conversation. As we embark on this journey together, we will urge you, IGP, and your devoted colleagues to seriously tackle issues affecting police integrity and public trust.
After hours of a behind-closed-door meetings between the Otumfuo, the police, former IGPs, and the Deputy Interior Minister, here's the Otumfuo's final remark regarding promotions in the service.
Politicizing the police service is something that we all have to be very careful about. When governments change, I hear some people lobbying to take positions where there's an incumbent IGP. I hear that. I get to know that. Let us do it properly. Let us stop so whoever comes will know that seniority and qualified people will be able to take over. That should be the motive behind it.
All parties expect this event to translate into a more transformed policing in Ghana.
A new poll by Global Info Analytics has delivered an uncomfortable reality check for the new patriotic party, exposing a clear performance gap between its two leading flag-bearer hopefuls, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Kennedy Agyapong, when tested against some of the big names within the governing National Democratic Congress. The poll puts the NPP contenders against Haruna Iddrisu, Atu Forson, Johnson Asiedu Nketia and Julius Debra, and the results were quite brutal. The following report has more.
The December 2025 polling by Global Info Analytics shows Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia losing all tested matchups but remaining competitive, narrowing the gap to 50% to 46% against Chief of Staff Julius Debra. Kennedy Agyapong, however, records much wider losses, trailing by over 25 points in some contests, including 61% to 34% against Haruna Iddrisu and 62% to 34% against Kasiel Atu Forson. Listen to Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Danka.
Comparing the top 4 NDC candidates. At the time, they were Asiedu Nketia, Julius Debra, Haruna Iddrisu, and Atu Forson. And we asked voters if the 2028 elections were between these candidates and face-to-face with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as MPP candidate, who would they vote for?
This is for the December one.
For the December one. Haruna Iddrisu against Kennedy. Haruna goes to 61%. 61%. And Ken goes to 34%, or on 34%. If you bring in Atu Forson against Kennedy, Atu Forson goes to 62%, against Ken, 34%. If you bring in Asiedu Nketia, he goes to 57%, Ken goes to 38%. And then if you bring in Julius Debra, he goes on 53%, and Ken 41%. So this is the scenario that we have run in the December polling that we just released.
The Kennedy Ohene Agyapong campaign has, however, rejected attempts to associate the presidential hopeful with the perceived failures of the previous NPP administration, arguing that he was not part of government. Speaking on JoyNews' AM show, campaign team member Kwesi Nyantechi said Agyapong remains a low-risk option for the NPP ahead of the 2028 elections and continues to resonate with ordinary Ghanaians as the party's primaries approach.
We are on the ground, and I respect him. Be that as it may. I believe that
the real work is on the ground.
Yes. I'm running from.
Yeah. What sets Kennedy apart from the rest?
Is his message. Apart from the likability for him as a person, he comes out as a non-conventional politician, very courageous, truthful, and honest. About 1.3 million Ghanaian youth or young people are unemployed. Okay. To me, it is not a problem of the young people. This is a national security crisis for us to handle, because the attendant effect of unemployment, you can imagine what happens. A lot of people go into social vices, unintended things that will happen and affect the country. So the unemployment situation is very critical. And this is the man who has confronted unemployment headlong in his campaign.
With less than 30 days to the NPP presidential primary on January 31st, the stakes have never been higher.
Away from politics, the family of a 12-year-old girl caned by 3 women is demanding justice for the victim. The La District Court remanded 2 of the suspects, Precious Giftan Mesofe, aged 22, and Princess Giftan Mesofe, aged 25. They were charged with conspiracy, assault, and cruelty to a child. Their mother, Prisla Wanyo, is still at large. Following this, JoyNews visited the victim's family. Michelle Latte reports.
What began as a minor altercation between 2 children has escalated into a case of alleged assault that has shocked the La community. On Tuesday, December 30, a 12-year-old girl whose identity is being protected was allegedly lured under the guise of being needed to run an errand. Family members say after the altercation, the child was sent by a neighbor to buy an item, an errand they believe was deliberately used as a bait. Ali Igbana is close relative to the victim.
My daughter says she was sent to charge someone's phone when she encountered a little boy. She had a brief altercation, after which she went into hiding. When the boy reported the incident to his someone was sent to summon her. She initially refused, but the individual persuaded her to run an errand. And that's how he captured her. He brutally beat her. The scene was heartbreaking. I couldn't bear to watch it.
It's very bad. Nearly a week after the incident, evidence of the ordeal is visible on the victim. Cane marks on the child's body have darkened with time, some developing into open sores. Though visibly injured, the girl spoke calmly as she recounted her ordeal.
Ni intasham money ebu space they mo pony about trying to madani I'm a bomb guadan mamile monson. The
First Lady slapped me, pressed my neck, and slammed my head against the wall. They really beat me.
For the victim's mother, Ramatu Alidu, the emotional toll has been heavy.
Kakra na masa fra na me se de ba sem na aba ne pa ne se me bra face se ne ka che ne pa ne se e pa ne twomini akoma wasa nyama we mu de wo ho no wonka na me nduru fie o se me de me ba hwe de wo ho no na ma be hu ampa wasa fra ye na me jade me ya na ampa na me tumika e ba ya
I was called from when to come home immediately. When I arrived, I found my child with visible signs of beating. I asked if she had stolen anything, because only thieves are beaten like that. Since the incident, I have been having trouble eating.
Police is still on the hunt for the 3rd person involved in the case. As the court sits on the matter on the 19th of January, the family says their only demand is for justice to prevail. For Joy News, this is Michelle Latte.
Away from that, the paramount chief of the Chiana traditional area has called on government and development partners to urgently invest in educational infrastructure in the community as a foundation for sustainable development in the Katsina-Nankana West District. Speaking at the 14th Chiana Fall Festival, the chief stated that the gains already made in education could be eroded if basic secondary schools are not adequately resourced. Upper East Regional Correspondent Albert Sore reports.
The Chiana Fall Festival is an annual cultural celebration that brings together the people of the Chiana traditional area in the Katsina-Nankana West District to honor their heritage and reflect on development priorities affecting the community. The festival marks the end of the farming season and is celebrated through traditional music, dance, and derbes of chiefs, where samples of the harvest from the just ended season are displayed as a sign of gratitude to the gods. The festival also serves as a platform to promote unity, preserve cultural identity, and mobilize collective action for development. The theme for this year's Chiana Fall Festival was Accelerated Education for All, the Role of Effective Partnerships. In his address, the paramount chief of the Chiana traditional area, Per Ditundini Adiayale Ayagatam III, called on government and development partners to urgently invest in educational infrastructure as a foundation for sustainable development in the Katsina-Nankana West District.
The challenges include inadequate and weak educational infrastructure in many of the basic schools and even in the oldest senior high school in the Katsina-Nankana West District. The China Senior High School continues to run general science courses without a science laboratory. The school also lacks a suitable administration block to operate from. School furniture in many of the basic schools is inadequate, and where there is furniture, it is in a bad condition. The world is moving fast, and the children of China and all those who choose to study in the China Senior High School are competing with the world. China cannot afford to slow progress in our education. Stakeholders must work collectively and urgently to bridge the gap.
He also appealed for improvements in other essential public services, including healthcare and road infrastructure. Per Ayagatam III appealed for the creation of a separate constituency and district for the area to enhance decentralization.
This appeal to the government, if granted, will not only deliver an echo appeal to almost every government within the past 2 decades, but will deliver improved public services to my people. My call for a separate district and constituency is more than just justified and granted in the local equity and the fulfillment of government's committed social contract with my people.
Majority Leader and Member of Parliament for Boko Central, Mahama Ayariga, who was the special guest, said the government was committed to providing quality education for all. He urged the chiefs and people of Chiana to play their role as important stakeholders in education.
The GET fund, which used to be capped by the previous administration and therefore lacked the resources to be able to finance education, has now been uncapped, and the full amount that inures to the account of the GET fund is being transferred to the GET fund. To this end, we're expanding educational infrastructure, improving teacher deployment, enhancing supervision, and reinforcing accountability mechanisms. I urge all communities to know that the national cake is shared. When a school is sent to your community, when an award of contract is made for the construction of the road in your area, know that that is your share of the national cake that has been allocated to you. If you allow a contractor colluding with his consultants to come and do a shoddy job, you allow him to spend only 40% of the money on the project and take 60% of the money, you are allowing him to defraud your community.
Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Chiana, Katsina-Nankana West District.
Asantehene.